Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at some of the newest Buzzworthy Bumblebee Studio Series releases. Now before we get into today's video, I'm actually going to be giving you guys the opportunity to in fact win the all new Buzzworthy Bumblebee Unmasked B127. Now this giveaway is completely open to worldwide viewers, so you can be anywhere in the world. It will be completely free. I shall cover the cost of the item as well as shipping. All you have to do in order to in fact enter is watch both the Cliff Jumper and the Cup review. You'll have to watch both of them. You'll have to drop a like on both of those reviews, and I will in fact actually pop a word up on the screen throughout both of their reviews, of which you'll have to have both of them in order to enter. Now in order to actually enter, all you will have to do is comment both of those words in the comment section of the Cup review, as this will be the final out of the two that I will in fact take a look at, and you guys will be entered into the giveaway. The giveaway will in fact be announced towards the end of this year, perhaps early January. I will in fact announce the announcement date in my community tab, so be sure to stay tuned for that. But yeah, it's very easy to enter and it's completely free, so why not? So you guys can in fact be in the chance of winning the B127 from the Buzzworthy line. If you have any questions, I'll be sure to in fact actually pin how to enter in the comment section of this video as well as the Cup video. So without further ado, let's get straight here into the review of the all new Transformers Buzzworthy Bumblebee Studio Series 86 Cliff Jumper. And so taking a very quick look here at the packaging, you can see here we have the supposedly all new 86 Studio Series Cliff Jumper, a figure that I don't believe any of us was in fact expecting. Now of course this is simply just a redeco of the Earthrise Cliff Jumper, which not only confirms that basically all of the War for Cybertron figures are essentially our counterparts for the Studio Series, but it also confirms that maybe the likes of the 86 rumoured RC that was supposed to come out next year will in fact just essentially be a repaint of the Earthrise RC, which personally I don't really have much of an issue with. I do think that these repaints, especially where Cup is concerned, are vastly superior when in comparison to their original offerings, as of course this perfectly matches, at least colour-wise, to what we actually saw on screen. You can see we've got a great window view display. As we turn here to the side, you've got some artwork there of RC and Mirage, further confirming that maybe we can in fact actually see this Earthrise RC repainted into the Studio Series line. As we turn our attention here to the back, you can see really awesome image there of Cliff Jumper in both robot mode as well as vehicle mode. He does in fact also come with the SS backdrop, and this guy is in fact numbered as Studio Series 8613, so I do also imagine that we will in fact see him as part of the main line. So without further ado, let's crack this guy open and see how he actually fares up compared next to his original War for Cybertron release. Taking a very quick look here at the included backdrop, of course it is exactly the same as the one that we saw with the 86 Jazz, so it is in fact Moon-based one, just before it is devoured by Unicron. Now something worth noting is that I believe all Studio Series releases going forward will in fact almost come with two backdrops, so this is indeed the insert that the figure actually comes attached onto. Of course this is an attempt to in fact abolish plastic on Hasbro releases, and I think it's fantastic that they haven't decided to just completely scrap this in aid to give us this. That's really cool that essentially they do give us this almost twice in a little bit more of a simpler format, and then of course more traditional for the Studio Series line. And then as we just very quickly bring Cliff Jumper in so you guys can see how he fares there with that backdrop, once again looking really nice. And so, moving right along, here we have the all-new 86 Cliff Jumper cracked open and out of the packaging, and this should be a fairly straightforward review, as essentially it's just merely the colours of which differ from the original War for Cybertron release. Now you can see here, he is indeed sporting a much more animation-accurate colour scheme, of which in my opinion is vastly superior when in comparison to the War for Cybertron offering. You can see here for the head sculpt, very similar to the previous release, although the shade of red plastic is in fact slightly lighter. You can see there for the chest unit, this is indeed the major design aspect of which changes, so instead of in fact having this as transparent plastic, it is merely just, I believe, blue plastic with the red painted over the top. I think that looks wicked. You can see the vibrancy there to the blue really captures his appearance from the show, and I do also love the inclusion here of grey plastic for the limbs. This of course greatly amplifies his accuracy to the show. You can see some very nice looking sculpt work going on there for the shoulders. I think the contrast of the black and the grey complement each other very nicely, and of course spinning our attention down to the lower section, you can once more see some very nice grey sculpting and detailing. As we spin our attention here to the back, once more we've got that red plastic with the blue actually applied over the top, which I think looks really nice, and overall it's a very solid looking figure. But of course, for those of you who own the original version and you're not all that keen on animation accuracy, or perhaps you're not actually a big fan of this mold, then I do think this guy is going to be an easy pass. And one thing also worth mentioning is that we now have the Autobot insignia slap bang there in the center, of which I believe was missing on the original War for Cybertron offering. Now we'll very quickly go through the articulation. Of course, he has got a swivel joint here at the head. Something which I know many of you do in fact actually not know is that you can indeed actually disengage the neck joint here of of Cliff Jumper in order to, in fact, extend that neck, allowing for a much greater range of motion looking down, which is fantastic and really does help aid some of those more dynamic poses. We get full rotation here at the shoulder, hinge joint out to the sides, full rotation there at the bicep, 90 at the elbow, full rotation here at the wrist, full rotation there at the waist, legs forwards that far, back that far, out to the sides, 90-degree bend there at the knee, and of course, finally, we get the ankle rocker pivot, which can go side to side. And very quickly going through accessories, of course, he comes with the exact same bazooka that we saw with the original version, albeit this time once more cast out of a much more tune-accurate colour scheme, that being the metallic blue. I believe we see this when he's just about to, in fact, gun down Megatron. This looks super, super nice. You can see the metallic blue is really, really reflective, and of course, we do get those tripod components there at the front, as well as this section here at the back, and this can be inserted into the figure's hand, or you can indeed actually break it up into once more individual segments, much like we saw on the original version. So talking of original version, of course, let's very quickly bring that guy out here for a comparison. You can see straight off the bat the stark difference in terms of animation accuracy. I actually really love the vibrancy here to the newer release. Now, granted, I really did like what they did with the original version, but you can just see in terms of tune accuracy, the grey as well as the black shoulders, of course, the more vibrant blue used here for the chest piece, the addition of the Autobot insignia as well as the overall lighter shade of red just really complements this mold so much nicer. And for those of you who luckily haven't picked up this figure yet, then I would definitely recommend to go with this new Studio Series Buzzworthy version. You can see there from the side the exact same mold, as so is the back. It is merely just the paint of which differs, and of course there are some paint apps of which are in fact actually missed out on this version. So you can see here for the front we don't in fact actually get these sections painted in black, but of course it is more animation accurate to have these just red. So in my personal opinion, this was a great figure, but if you want the most accurate version of a mainline Cliff Jumper, then I would definitely opt to go with this all new Buzzworthy version. Now getting down to transformation, of course exactly the same as the previous version. You just simply want to remove the backpack section, fold this tab down like so. We can then come here to the feet, take these, pull those sections out, hinge this back and clip the wheels there into place, come to this side and repeat the same process. So hinge that like so. We can then come here to this chest unit, pull this forwards. If you have in fact disengaged the neck joint, you will want to click that section there back into place. We can take this here, fold that over the top, hinge the arms out, rotate here at the waist so that the front is now facing the back, hinge the arms here backwards, and then just pull the legs forwards. You can see that we do in fact get some tiny tabs here on the shoulders that will peg there into those slots. So if you've got the original version, you know exactly how this all works. We can then take these here, fold that over the top, and then of course these tabs will in fact slide under and should just snap there into place. We can then take the windscreen, snap that section in, and these are a bit of a pain, but just snap that in there, just persevere, clip that into place, come to this side, and of course just clip that section in. And for some finishing touches, it is just merely bringing in this parts forming aspect, pegging that through the wrist joints here on the back. And there you have the Buzzworthy Bumblebee Studio Series 86 Cliff Jumper fully transformed up into vehicle mode. Now, truth be told, I actually don't think the colour scheme complements the vehicle mode as well as it did in the robot form. I put that down to the simple fact that, of course, this is way off when in comparison to the alt form that Cliff Jumper actually had in the 86 film and, of course, G1. So it would have been nice to have maybe seen them completely reshell this in order to truly make this a definitive 86 variant. But nevertheless, going through the details very quickly, unlike the original Earthrise version, you will notice that the majority of the red is in fact cast plastic when it was indeed mainly paint on the original version, so it does look slightly more muted when in comparison. But you can see that we've got the Autobot insignia there for the front section as well as here for the actual top of the hood, as of course this is where the chest unit was. You can see the blue looks fantastic. I really do like the vibrancy of that, and of course you can see that there. This is in fact plastic from what I can tell, and then of course you do in fact actually get the painted blue here at the back, which is a really nice touch. And then as we spin our attention to the tail, you can see here that we do get the silver paint with the exhaust sculpted as well as all of the rims picked out in silver, and of course the figure can roll just as you would expect. So in all, a very nice vehicle mode to complement a decent robot mode, but once more it would have been awesome to have seen this completely reshelled. Now very quickly going through some of the weapon implementation, of course you can just break this blaster here up into all of its individual components like you could on the original version and create the ski mode. So you simply do just port those tripod sections here into the front, and of course come to this side and repeat the same process, snap that in there. We can then take this particular component, ratchet this section out, and you can see we've got two little circular ports there at the back. These pegs will snap into, and that port there will peg into there. And then for some finishing touches, you simply do just take these blasters here, snap them into those tabs, and of course come to this side and repeat the exact same process. And there you've got CLIFFJUMPER fully equipped with all of the accessories in what I like to call the ski mode. And for comparison, here we have the 86 release compared next to our War for Cybertron offering, and if I'm being completely honest, I do in fact think the Earthrise release has the upper hand here in alt form. I just think the red paint complements the vehicle so much nicer and actually makes it look slightly more visually pleasing when in comparison to, of course, the bland red that we just get here for the alt form. That's not to say that this is bad by any stretch of the imagination, but I just think these colours work slightly better in bot mode. Maybe if they would have in fact given him the correct, accurate alt mode, then maybe my opinion would have been slightly swayed. But if you do in fact actually pick up both of them, then I do think it would be pretty cool to maybe display this original War for Cybertron version in alt form, and definitely to keep our new buzzworthy release in robot mode. But just so you can see there, from a side perspective, the differences, and of course here, the rear differences, and finally, here from the front, you can see the placement of the Autobot insignia is completely different, of course, to better match what we actually saw from the original 86 series. So, some final thoughts for this Transformers Buzzworthy Bumblebee Studio Series 86 CLIFFJUMPER. In all, a surprise for sure, but definitely a welcome one. Not only does this guy confirm that we could potentially be seeing some reissues of some of those older War for Cybertron releases, but it also confirms that basically the War for Cybertron line, as well as the Studio Series, essentially coexist within the same universe. They're just bracketed under different titles. So for those of you wanting an 86 version of Optimus Prime, we already have it in the War for Cybertron line. I don't think that they will in fact give us their own definitive brand new mold on, of course, an Optimus Prime based on the 86 film. It is just the War for Cybertron offering, but as this guy stands, I think it's awesome. I think it's a great concept that we could indeed be seeing more toon accurate colours actually put on some of these great molds. I really like CLIFFJUMPER. I know there are some of you out there that actually really don't like him due to the parts forming aspect, and if I had any critiques, I would have liked to have seen them maybe reshell the alt form, just a better match from what we actually saw from the animation. But in terms of robot mode, I think this guy looks fantastic. I really like the vibrant blue. I like the vibrant red. Of course, in vehicle mode, my opinion is slightly swayed, especially when in comparison to what we actually saw from the Earthrise release. I just think in vehicle form, the War for Cybertron version just looks a little better. But of course, if you just mainly want to stick in bot mode, then this is a great looking figure. And when we turn to Cup, he's definitely a figure of which has been vastly improved. So with all that being said, I believe that just about wraps up my review for the 86 CLIFFJUMPER. Of course, be sure to enter in that giveaway for that unmasked B127 in the upcoming Studio Series 86 Cup review. And until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.